Welcome to another episode of Neon Radio. I'm Reece, and this week I'll be reviewing Mortal Kombat 2021. MMA fighter Cole Young seeks out Earth's greatest champions in order to stand against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stake battle for the universe. This movie, man. This movie has such a strong opening. It opens so well. Like we're treated to such an enjoyable kind of array of like storytelling, and straight into this old concept of like where Scorpion came from and all this intrigue, and then it's thrown to the wayside. Once we get thrown into our new character of Cole and his journey, it is boring. It's boring. And it's a shame because, the character of Sub-Zero and Scorpion are both great in the movie. Sub-Zero actually has done really good justice for the film because, he's actually like an evil character. He's scary. He's like a horror character in its own right. And then Scorpion is actually has a good backstory. You feel for the guy. And all around, the rest of it is just so bad. Like vanilla characters. Cole is as bland as it could come. He can't fight, so you're wondering why the hell he's going to be able to fight anyone else later on in the film. And then, as we progress through the rest of the film, we're just given one boring character after another with no backstory, nothing. And there's characters there that do have good backstory. The lore of Mortal Kombat is pretty hefty and has a lot there to take from. But they just decided to scrap it. By the way, it didn't help that this wasn't actually in a tournament. It would have helped if this was in a tournament because it just would have been a Mortal Kombat movie. This felt like it was a prequel, an obvious prequel by the end of it. Also, the pacing of this film is just horrible. We have such a strong opening that breathes, and then from the rest of that onward, it's just one thing after another after another. It never stops, and it doesn't even give time for the fights to breathe. The fights are just quick shot after quick shot after quick shot, and this may come down to the fact that the director, this is his directorial debut, Simon McQuaid, and he used to be a commercial director, a big commercial director. He did things for PlayStation, Halo, Call of Duty, VW, Nissan, Telstra. List goes on. And although he's great on that front, the idea of having to cut so quickly between things may have translated itself into film, and for fight scenes, that just doesn't help. We've moved past that now. We're not looking at Bourne fight scenes anymore. We're looking at things like John Wick, or The Raid, where if the cuts are quick, there's heft and weight to the feeling of the fight. When someone gets hit and falls to the ground, you're feeling it. And that's what happens at the start. When Scorpion is hitting people with his Scorpion blade thing, I don't know what it's called, and pulling him down, you feel like they're breaking. You feel like people are getting hurt. That being said, gore to the film is a lot of gore. At the end of the day, there's guts, there's heads exploding, there's people getting cut in half, there's pretty much all you can take from a Mortal Kombat type of fatality or something like that. So kudos on that front. Also, Kano in the film pretty much holds the film on his own. If it wasn't for his jokes and quips throughout the film, I don't know, this movie would have been very boring. And, well, it is. But, trying to look at it from an unbiased perspective. Also, the production design. It's fantastic when it comes to the costuming and the characters. But every location looks like trash. Horrible. When you're in, Outworld, it's just a desert. And when you're in, Raiden's temple, it looks like you're in Outworld. So that's not great at all. On another front, though, when it comes to some of the Sub-Zero scenes, and yet again, best part of the film, Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Because you actually care for the characters a little bit. You know a little bit about them. The rest of them you don't know anything about. But bar for none. The locations and things for Sub-Zero and Scorpion they're the parts that are the most interesting locations, the fights happening, because, you know, they're set in, like, for example, a gym that's just frozen over with Sub-Zero's, like, ice everywhere. That's cool. I mean, it's interesting. But a lot of the other places are just very boring. Also, the characters, the villains, are kind of thrown out. We don't know much about them at all. All we know is that they are with Shang Tsung, and that's it. I mean, this movie doesn't build upon any of its lore. That's what it does, and it moves so briskly that you don't even know what happened last. It's just one thing after another, and then its story arc, its plot is flawed. You know, you get characters that they're shut off from the world with like a bubble around like Raiden's temple, and then that bubble's taken away. I don't know, man. It's just very confusing, and it's not well written at all. It's horribly written. That being said, there are good parts in it and things that do justice to Mortal Kombat. Little things like, you know, a training montage where Kano is, you know, up against Liu Kang, and Kano jumps up and Liu Kang swipes his legs like in the game, and then he goes, "Oh, you know, you can't do that to me again," and he pretty much does exactly the same thing to him, and you're like, well, that happens in the game, so that was pretty comical. But other than that, there's so many flaws with this film, and so many things that I took from it that I just didn't enjoy. And honestly, more than once did I see myself looking down at my watch, wishing that scenes where there was a conversation between two people would end and just get to the next fight. As an unbiased score, I'm going to give this movie a 4.5 out of 10. But for me, 2 out of 10. I'll never watch it again. I'll never watch this film again. I will go back, I'll crack a beer, I'll put on some popcorn, and I'll throw 95's Mortal Kombat into the DVD player, or, you know, up on Netflix or whatever. But I will never watch Mortal Kombat 2021 ever again. And that's a harsh review. I know it's harsh, but, you know, no one makes these movies not wanting to, you know, do a good job. But I just think that this did not hit the mark for me, and I really hope that going forward they do things like bring Liu Kang to the forefront and make him the main character, because Cole is bland, and Liu Kang was someone that I wanted to see more of in this film. He looked like he was doing a good job. He knew the rules. He knew the world, and we didn't get that. And, you know, it's sad to see something like Prince Goro going out so, like, weak. So, yeah. 4.5 as an unbiased opinion, a 2 out of 10 personally. And thanks for listening to the review. Like and subscribe, and go check out the Neon Radio podcast, where we do a long, more in-depth review. Declan gives a much nicer review on Mortal Kombat. And Dan, unfortunately, he's sick, so that's the reason why he's not here at the moment. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this week's review, and Neon Radio, lights out.